Lena had lived in the city for 3 months, but she still felt like a stranger. Every morning, she walked past the same buildings, the same traffic lights, and the same tired faces on the subway. Nobody smiled. Nobody said hello. Back in her hometown, everyone knew everyone. Here, she didn't even know her neighbor's name. She worked at a small design company on the 5th floor of an old building. Her job was interesting, but her days felt empty. After work, she usually went straight home, made a simple dinner, and watched television alone. She told herself this was normal. Moving to a new city was never easy. It would take time to feel settled. One rainy Tuesday, Lena left the office late. The sky was dark, and the wind pushed against her umbrella. She didn't want to go home yet. She was tired of her small apartment and its silence. So instead of taking the usual road, she turned left at the corner, past a small bookshop, and found herself in front of a coffee shop she had never noticed before. The window glowed with warm yellow light. A wooden sign above the door read, Maple Street Coffee. Lena hesitated for a moment, then pushed the door open. A bell rang softly above her head. Inside, the smell of coffee and fresh bread filled the air. Wooden tables were scattered around the room, and soft jazz music played in the background. A few customers sat quietly, reading books or typing on their laptops. It felt cozy, like a small world separate from the noisy city outside. "Welcome! Please sit anywhere you like," said a cheerful voice. Lena turned and saw a young man behind the counter. He had short brown hair and a friendly smile. His name tag said Daniel. "Thank you," Lena replied, choosing a table near the window. She ordered a cappuccino and opened her phone, planning to check her messages like she always did. But something about the coffee shop made her pause. She put her phone down and looked around instead. An older woman was knitting near the door. 2 students were arguing playfully about a math problem. A dog slept peacefully under one of the tables. When Daniel brought her coffee, he didn't just place it on the table and walk away. "First time here?" he asked. "Yes, I just moved to the city a few months ago," Lena said. "I've never noticed this place before." "A lot of people say that," Daniel laughed. "We're a little hidden, but the regulars like it that way." "Where are you from?" "A small town, about 6 hours from here. It's very different. Everyone knows each other." Daniel nodded. It must be strange, moving somewhere so big and quiet at the same time. Lena smiled. That was exactly how she felt, but she had never said it out loud before. "Yes," she said. "That's exactly it." They typed for a few more minutes before another customer called for Daniel's attention. He excused himself politely, but before leaving, he said, "Come back anytime. The coffee's better the second time, I promise." Lena laughed for the first time in what felt like weeks. That night, walking home in the rain, she felt a small but real change inside her. It wasn't a big event. Nothing dramatic had happened. But for a few minutes, she hadn't felt invisible. Over the next few weeks, Lena began stopping by Maple Street Coffee 2 or 3 times a week. She always sat at the same table by the window. Daniel usually had time for a short conversation between customers. She learned that he had grown up in the city, studied literature in college, and started working at the coffee shop to save money for graduate school. He loved books, old movies, and terrible puns that made Lena groan and laugh at the same time. Slowly, Lena started noticing other regular customers too.
There was Mr. Alvarez, an elderly man who came every morning at 8 o'clock and ordered the same black coffee. There was Priya, a nurse who often came in exhausted after night shifts, always ordering something sweet. There was even a young couple who met at the shop every Friday evening to plan their wedding, spreading papers and photographs across their table. For the first time since moving to the city, Lena began to recognize faces. People began to recognize hers, too. The photography class turned out to be one of the best decisions Lena had made since arriving in the city. It met every Saturday morning in a small studio above a bicycle shop, just a 15-minute walk from her apartment. The teacher, a patient woman named Miss Okafor, spent the first class simply explaining
how to hold a camera properly and how light changed the mood of a photograph. At first, Lena felt nervous. Everyone else in the class seemed to already know so much about cameras, lenses, and settings she had never heard of. But by the third week, she began to relax. She learned that photography, like living in a new city, was mostly about paying attention, noticing small details that most people walked right past. One Saturday, the class went outside to practice taking photos around the neighborhood. Lena found herself standing in front of Maple Street Coffee, camera raised, trying to capture the way morning light fell across the wooden sign above the door. Daniel happened to glance out the window and waved at her through the glass, laughing when he realized she was taking his picture without asking. Later that day, she also grew closer to her neighbor, Grace. It began with something small. Grace's enormous orange cat, Biscuit, had escaped into the hallway, and Lena spent nearly 20 minutes helping to coax him back inside with a piece of dried fish. Grace, grateful and slightly embarrassed, invited Lena in for tea. "I'm not very good at making friends anymore," Grace admitted, setting 2 chipped teacups on the table. "When you get older, people assume you don't want new friends, but that's not true at all." "I know exactly what you mean," Lena said. "I thought moving to a big city would be exciting, but mostly it just felt lonely at first." "It gets better," Grace said, patting her hand gently. "Cities are strange like that. They look cold from the outside, but once you find your little corners, your coffee shop, your neighbor with the terrible cat, it starts to feel like home." From that afternoon on, Lena and Grace often shared tea on Sunday evenings, sometimes talking for hours about nothing in particular. Biscuit, for his part, quickly decided that Lena's apartment was an acceptable second home, and he began appearing at her door whenever he pleased. One afternoon, as she sat reading a novel, Mr. Alvarez stopped by her table on his way out. "You are the young lady who always sits by the window," he said with a small smile. "I've seen you here almost every week now." "Yes, that's me," Lena said, surprised that he had noticed. "This city can feel cold at first," he said, "but little places like this, they make it warmer. Enjoy your book." Lena watched him leave, feeling a strange warmth in her chest. She hadn't realized how much she needed a small moment of connection like that. Weeks turned into months. Lena's life outside the coffee shop slowly began to change as well. Her photography skills improved with every Saturday class, and her Sunday teas with Grace became something she genuinely looked forward to. Little by little, the city stopped feeling so unfamiliar. But not everything was easy. One evening, Lena arrived at the coffee shop feeling especially discouraged. She had made a mistake at work that day, a big one. A client had complained about a design error, and her manager had been clearly frustrated with her in front of the whole team. Lena felt embarrassed and exhausted. She sat at her usual table, staring blankly out the window. Daniel noticed immediately that something was wrong. "Rough day?" he asked, setting down her coffee without being asked.
Lena sighed. "I made a mistake at work, a really bad one. My manager was upset, and now I feel like everyone thinks I'm careless." Daniel sat down across from her for a moment, something he rarely did during work hours. "Can I tell you something?" he said. When I started working here, I got an order wrong almost every single day. I spilled coffee on a customer's laptop once. I forgot an entire catering order for a company meeting. Lena raised an eyebrow. Seriously? Seriously, Daniel said. Everyone makes mistakes when they're learning something new, especially something important to them. The fact that you feel bad about it means you care. That's not a flaw. That's actually a good sign. It doesn't feel like a good sign, Lena muttered. No, Daniel admitted, it never does in the moment. But give it time. You'll fix it, and eventually, you'll barely remember it happened. His words stayed with her long after she left the coffee shop that night. The next morning, instead of avoiding her manager, Lena walked into his office, apologized clearly, and explained how she planned to fix the error. Her manager, though still a little frustrated, respected her honesty. Within a few days, the mistake had been corrected, and life at work slowly returned to normal.
As the months passed, Maple Street Coffee became more than just a place Lena visited. It became a small anchor in her new life, a place where she was known, where people asked about her day and actually waited for the answer. One rainy evening, almost exactly a year after her first visit, Lena walked into the coffee shop again. The bell rang above the door, just as it always did. Daniel looked up from behind the counter and smiled. "The usual?" he asked. "The usual," Lena confirmed, smiling back. As she sat down at her table by the window, she thought about how different this city felt now compared to a year ago. The streets were the same. The subway was still crowded and noisy, but somehow everything felt warmer, more familiar, more like home. She realized that a city isn't made of buildings and streets alone. It's made of small moments. A warm cup of coffee, a kind word from a stranger, a familiar smile at the end of a hard day. Sometimes all it takes to feel less alone is one small door, pushed open on a rainy evening, leading to a place where somebody remembers your name. Outside, the rain continued to fall gently against the window.
But inside Maple Street Coffee, everything felt bright, warm, and for the first time in a long while, exactly where Lena wanted to be. Thanks for listening. Please like and subscribe. See you in the next lesson.